That's RPGs. Role-playing games. They are mechanics, toolkits. That is all that I view a role-playing game. This book, that's all it is. Sure, there's great ideas and stuff like that in the book itself, on how the author views playing the game. You can totally change that up. It's entirely up to you. What comes down to with your group is they're going to play in two different ways. Usually, it's in two different groups. They're going to play in as Mercs or well, we could put an E in there. Heroes. Why do I say there's only like Mercs and heroes? Well, I'm not saying that this is necessarily, written in stone, but this tends to be the two paths on which, for me, if I was working on a game, I will have a path for each one of these within my scenario. This way I cover all angles, because what's going to happen with your group is they're going to decide on how they're going to start off. Mercs is usually kind of like a loose band that works for money, and you've got your players that will do that. So their motivations are for coin and getting stuff. So that's their goals as players, as far as their short-sightedness is. And that's not a bad thing, because when you start off with a character, you got basically, are you going to be a merc or a hero? Even though they don't think of it that way, that's basically it. Heroes, these ones want a path. Or an arc. Well, actually, between it, from here to here, can be an arc. This has happened to me personally as a player. I started off as a mercenary, and then there was an arc which created my mercenary as a hero. That's a great, path to go on. And I wasn't entirely, when I started as a merc, I had no idea that I was going on a path of the hero. Some groups just stay as mercs. So they end up being basically murder hobos, that kind of thing. So, I mean, that's okay. Everybody has their own view of how fun is. Either way, as a GM, I can have fun either way. I have no problem, because I have prepared for both scenarios, basically. You can't call them, both broad strokes in each area here. And I think, for me, that is the best way for me to approach my game mastery, is to prepare for both of these methods. Heroes is a little different than Mercs, because Mercs is a little less intensive on creating a path, because hero, you have to have something for them in order to gravitate to become the hero. So there must be something like a princess rescue, or you got to save the kingdom, that sort of thing. Those are ways to make the players into heroes, but they aren't heroes right away. That's the thing. They are on a path to become heroes. So they're basically start off as first level nobodies, and then slowly, gradually become these heroes. That is one way. When they start off with that mindset, yeah. Sometimes they won't tell you right off the bat, but I mean, you should do that during your session 0 to see kind of where your players are leaning towards. If they're being mercs, or if they're being ones that want to go onto the path of the hero. So that is my view on how this all works. Everything else in these books, I'm looking at Numenera. Numenera, I'm just looking at the mechanics, how they work for me, whether or not this works to create each path for me in the most easiest, best way with the best toolkit. D&D, same thing. You know, they're just mechanics. They're just toolkits. There is nothing else in those games that me personally I view. You may view it differently, of course, but I do not go by all the little side blurbs and stuff that are in the game. I could totally have my own. Instead of using the steadfast in Numenera, I could do my totally own idea. I could have an actual map of the Earth and move the continents around the way I think they would be, instead of the Pangea, which is in Numenera. That's entirely my option. And pulling ideas out of here, of course, you have to kind of stick with some of the ideas in here, you know, with the ciphers and the way that things would work a billion years in the future. The monsters and stuff, you know, definitely they're my things to utilize. I could have, you know, certain things in here which are inherently bestial and bloodthirsty. I could have them, if I felt like it, more intellectualized and you know, civilized, if I wish. It's entirely up to me to do that. Every group is going to be different. Like I'm talking like groups as you go along throughout the years. You're going to have one group that's going to be, you know, wanting to follow the Merc path, and you know, we become murder hobos, basically on some sort of crazy adventure that involves possibly burning down villages after you do an oops and that sort of stuff. That has happened. Or mercs that, you know, gradually gain themselves a stronghold and work that way. Some people like, you know, spreadsheet kind of stuff, where others don't, you know. So if the spreadsheety kind of people want to keep tabs on what they have on hand for supplies and all this stuff, some people are like that, you know. They're usually people that work in, you know, accounting and stuff like that. You know, you're gonna have these people in role-playing games. There's others that just want to have fun with the group because of the group itself. Some of you guys will be friends. Some of you will develop into friendships, even online and stuff like that. So there are going to be people that you gravitate towards as players that you feel have a connection between each other in particular genres of these two paths. So if your friend online that you're playing with likes to be a merc, and you like the way he plays a merc and the way you play with him as a merc, it works. Then you end up being in games with them with other DMs on the same sort of idea. But you may also like playing with somebody that wants to do a hero path. And you can play as a group of heroes. You can play as, you know, maybe one of the characters in the party is going for the heroic path and the rest of you are basically mercs. So you have something like a Jason and the Argonauts kind of scenario going on. The arc, like I say, is a very interesting way to go about becoming a hero. Arcs are really good because, you know, you're basically taking a character with one kind of mindset, and then throughout the journey that they take becomes either the hero or the villain, depending. You know, I've seen that happen as well. And you know, it's part of the story. Everybody's idea of what fun is going to be different for every group, as you might have a group of accountants all together playing in your game, and they will love, you know, taking stock on their stronghold later on and doing, you know, all that, you know, oh, how much money are we getting from this land or that land or this farmer and this hamlet. You know, it's subjective. It depends on the players themselves. Others, you know, just want to roam and be free and just do their thing, spend their money, and gain more stuff. That's their arc. That's what they want to do. But you have to put in stuff in the game which is interesting to each one of these paths. Mercs won't necessarily go through the hero path, but, you know, keep that aside just in case there is somebody in there that decides to go that route. So then you do have that Jason hero with the Argonauts following him. Or, you know, just keep on the path of this, and possibly they might come upon something. You know, usually it's you know, you'll have smaller things for them to do. You know, there'll be stuff in various areas that they could do. Little jobs. We go to this dungeon, loot that. Go to this dungeon, secure that, make that our stronghold. Go to this area here, help take over this castle for a barony or something. You know, there's a lot of things you can do with this Merc idea. They're having enemies, and, you know, they're developing enemies, I should say, or friends, and you can play on that. It's an entirely cool concept, which to those players will work. Hero path, you got to have something for them to do. You got to have, like, somebody to rescue. You got to have a village to save. You got to have you know, a few dungeons that are kind of like this too. So you can have the hero or heroes go to all these paths and do this kind of thing, creating enemies and friends and developing the story that way as well. It's entirely up to you. I use this as my blueprint on creating an adventure, no matter what I play. I play Numenera, The Strange, I play Castles and Crusades. You know, I also have Pathfinder #2, and I have 5E, D, and D. And in actuality, I have yet to play these two as a game master or as a player, because I haven't reached out to any groups that would want to do so. All my games have been basically these three right now. So, yeah. And these are, you know, Castles and Crusades and Numenera, well, the Cipher. Are totally different things. This is more like second, or actually more like A, D, and D with ascending AC, like 3rd edition. Two different styles, two different mechanics, two different toolkits, but it doesn't matter what these tools do. You're gonna have these two basic paths, as far as I see it, and that's the way I work. So, if you're ever playing in one of my games as a player, you've got your choice here of the two different paths: mercs or heroes. That's my take on this. Hope you guys have an awesome day. Thanks for listening.